Tell me when to go. So this is our robot project. It has been made by Corbin, me, and Simon. Yeah.
So this is the problems and specifications of the project. So there wasn't really a specified problem statement, besides that we needed to have a robot and it needed to be able to walk. So they didn't get much more specific than that, other than it had to have 4 legs, it had to be able to walk in 8 directions, but that was changed later to be just walking in general. And it has to use the Arduinos and custom written code. So the actual building of the robot makes a clear distinction that you can't have permanent adhesives, or you can't have temporary ones, you can only use permanent ones. So no tape, no I guess light glue. It has to be like super glue or screws or something like that. Or in our case, zip ties. And also it had to be able to walk off of a table height and survive the drop with its 4 legs.
Alright. Concepts. These will be the different designs that we had come up with throughout our design process, trying to 3D model it. So all of our designs had to be 4-legged creature based designs. We decided to mainly base all of our designs off of creatures, since it seemed easiest to imagine. We had one with a long rectangular body, similar in design to our final design, but with adjustments to the size of the body and legs. Its legs would have been bigger, like I said, a long rectangular body. Would have been able to stabilize itself better, but it probably would have been heavy and would have broke on the fall. We also have debated the concepts of an 8-legged spider, just go above and beyond, that would have had extra stability when walking. We also had a design that was an enclosed box. Many other people went with this design with legs coming out the design or out of the sides of the box, and it would have allowed for safety of the fragile parts when falling. And we also thought of building a humanoid robot. It would have been bipedal, but it didn't have 4 legs, so we just didn't do that one. Our other design was a 6-legged and type robot with an area for each fragile part on the robot.
Our actual design consisted with a crab-based design with 4 legs and a simple flat rectangle as our body. The legs came off of the long side of the body and the ends of the body. The legs have holes and indentations that allow the servos to assimilate within them with ease and allow the robot to move. The breadboard is on the bottom of the body and the Arduino resides on the top of the body. We found this to be the best design out of all of our other ideas.
So problems in the project, which there were very many. To start, whenever we were trying to actually get materials to build our robot, the servo motors that we did try and test don't work most of the time and refuse to actually listen to the code that we had. And remember, there was only 2 that were functional at the beginning, then we lost one, so we only had 1 functional one. And the rest of them just would not move, but they would whir and vibrate inside of their actual cases, and that was about it. But furthermore, there was 3D printers just not working. I personally spent a whole class period trying to do maintenance on one, and it just would not work, even though I tried everything with the extruder that was messed up. But that's not the only one. All of the printers basically just were not functional or were taken, thanks to many different people using them at the same time, and years of use. So the equipment for creating the robot was overall bad, like the 3D printers, and difficult to use. And that includes some of the Arduino aspects as well, because we had unknowingly used a 101 version that was not at all compatible with our port on our computer, which was supposed to be COM5, but it just wouldn't listen at all. And that's actually further with the Arduino weird model. it couldn't read our code for weeks before getting its drivers updated, which was the 101, which took forever to complete. But it actually just didn't end up working anyway, so we had to switch to an R3 finally. And even then, even though it was on COM8 port, and we had tried multiple times to upload our code and got multiple different error codes and tried looking them up and did all that we could to try to fix that, it still wouldn't take the code. It just wouldn't let it be uploaded. Even though we've tried switching in the Arduino software on the computer, the right model, the right port, and any other setting relating to it, it just wouldn't take it. And we also tried resetting the Arduino multiple times. And moving on, finding a reliable adhesive for connecting and attaching all of our parts, which we ended up choosing a spray-on super glue. It was a bit difficult because there was only one bottle, I'm pretty sure, in the entire class, so we had to find it and then actually be able to use it without burning our hands with sticky stuff, which I personally had trouble with. So that was used, unfortunately, on all of the servo motors, which are now glued into our thighs and shins. So trying to dismantle the robot, we have come into the problem of they cannot be removed at all. So it's a bit problematic for taking it apart because it did not do well. But moving on, Tinkercad broke and made it impossible to test limits over code. That was much earlier on in the project, and one day it just started and it did not let up. Tinkercad, the online shell for coding, just would not function. It would not let us download our code, and it would also not let us upload it anywhere. It just stopped working. The site probably crashed or something. We didn't really know, and that made it impossible to run simulations of our code on 4 legs, which were supposed to be the functional ones in the robot. And finally, obtaining working materials was also difficult. That's related again to the servo motors, but also the breadboard was occasionally problematic because our design really needed a small one, and that was difficult to work with. And also the Arduinos were just not functional sometimes, in our case at least.
And the results. So our robot was unable to walk through all of the errors and the issues that we had gone through. The final one was that the Arduino and the breadboard were out of sync, and no matter how many articles we looked at pertaining to the error code that we kept getting, none of them worked. We couldn't fix it. We didn't know what the problem was. It wasn't able to walk is the bottom line. And during its drop test, we've actually done 2 of these, and both of them took a leg off of our robot. So it was not very structurally stable, but most of the robot stayed together. It's just that there were a few weak points where the shoulders would have been. And it is no longer able to walk. That's about it. All right.